Hello, this is DrLockdown. You may already know this, you may not. The point is, I have recently been tagged in the Transformers challenge. It is a challenge where you answer about 15 questions. I was tagged by Bert The Stormtrooper, who is an utterly fantastic YouTuber who I've conversed with quite a bit. In fact, I was the one that recommended the Action Master Optimus Prime. He mentions my real name in that. Well, what? It's not like I'm hiding it in any way. Yes, this is a slightly different setup than you might be used to, but that's because, well, you'll see that in the next video I've got coming out, which is Studio Series Bumblebee and Stinger. I'll explain all the details there, but for now I want to get this video out just so that it don't cause any problems. So, let's get into these questions, shall we?
What is your favourite Transformer in your collection?
My favourite Transformer is pretty easy. I've reviewed it on the channel. In fact, it was in the first year that I did videos. Actually, no, it was the second, right? It was in the first year where I was actually doing the top Transformers of each year. It was MMC Feral Queen. In fact, it still is MMC Feral Queen. Even with Prime Dead End being so good, Feral Queen just wins by just that much. It's better than any bloody Masterpiece figure I have, or any Chug figure, or even any Iron Factory figure. Unfortunately, it's currently in storage over there in the big drawers you see over there, so I'm not... getting it out is going to be a real pain. But I have plenty of footage of it, so you can see how it transforms. I've even got the new banner that I use for my YouTube channel, and for all my signatures on TFW, so yeah. It's a great figure.
What is your most expensive Transformer?
Surprisingly, that's not very hard. Sure, you might get into the specifics about, oh, does that include combiners? Does that include single Transformers? Well, even if it's including combiners, my most expensive Transformer is actually my most recent Transformer. And that would be 7-Eleven Masterpiece Optimus Prime, and oh god, this was expensive. See, when I first started paying for him, the price was $350, and I thought, oh, okay, that's great. Then the person in charge of shipping added an extra $100 on the top of that. Yes. Why? I mean, sure, you gotta make some money, but that much? I mean, what is he? He's just a freight forwarder, right? I'm not sure about the specifics, but, you know, I was already in on the deal and there wasn't much I can do. I'm not really that angry about it. And I finally have a version of the MT10 mold, even if he does have the weird 7-Eleven logos, and actually, I think that makes him look better. I'm sad he doesn't have more decals on him, though, because the trailer goes all out as a big Slurpee machine, but this is just... Also, I need to mention it's not a real Slurpee machine, it's just a repainted MP10 trailer, but, you know, it's just a metaphor.
How many Transformers do you own?
I'd say around the 500 mark. I'm not really going to count. But a lot of my Transformers are actually Legends class figures. I am obsessed with Legends class figures. In fact, after this video I'm going to take a few shots of my Legends drawer, and this isn't even most of my Legends collection. Most of it's also in storage, because I just have too many of them. They're cheap, they're easy to get, and if you get into Iron Factory, they are fantastic. It kind of stems from me not being able to afford really expensive Transformers as a kid, and from there that kind of spiraled into just loving them as an adult. I really need to get my Iron Factory game up this year, and in fact I've ordered a few that are currently on the way, but of course Australia Post has just delivered them on Friday night, so I probably won't get them until Tuesday. This is what it's like living in Australia. Also, f*** you!
What is your worst Transformer?
Again, surprisingly an easy one, and I've been waiting to review this for quite some time, but this is Impossible Toys Glyph. It's been around for quite some time, and it was on sale for $5 on TF Source, and I thought, oh, for $5, how bad can it be? Biggest mistake! This doesn't even feel like it's worth $5, and that's US, it's more like $7 Australian. Doesn't feel like that. The plastic is hollow, there's no paint, the paint that is here is boring, the rubber tires are too tight and they feel like they're already going brittle, the transformation is a nightmare, it's on these weird hinges. I don't even want to transform this thing because the hinges are so weak, I feel like it's going to shatter just from transforming it. And you have to see the head. Look at that f***ing head! That's... what the f*** am I looking at here? It's a disaster! I have planned a bit of a special review for that later down the line. I want to do something big. I think it'll be an anniversary special, maybe for the 3-year anniversary one, if I can finally get my animated models going, but that's rather unlikely. I've met a few setbacks. Regardless, it is a shit figure. Do not, under any circumstances, buy it.
What is the best place to buy Transformers?
The best place is pretty easy. It would be the Transformers Collectors Club Australia Buy, Sell and Trade threads on Facebook. You can find anything there. It's a gold mine. I got MMC Death's Head. I got MP Star Saber for a steal. I got tons of classics figures. If I want something, I just have to ask there and I can get it for a decent price. I've met tons of friends simply through buying things and then meeting them at meetups. And then we get stuff for each other and it all works quite well. You form connections. You sell your things and actually get good returns back on them. Overall, it works really, really well. The worst place though, well, back in the day, I would have said kids stuff simply because it's really, really expensive and never has any Transformers. But Australian Transformers fans will note that there is a terrible store that most of the time we are not allowed to mention. In fact, this video may be removed from the Transformers Collectors Club Australia simply for mentioning these demons. Please don't mention it in the Facebook comments below. And that store is Premium Collectibles. I've never ordered from them myself, however I ordered from a store that had a similar issue, which is TFI Down Under, however they're still trying to get the refunds out. Premium Collectibles is a scam. They started out bona fide, you know, doing pre-orders for decent prices. They took a while, but eventually they got there. And then something changed. First they stopped the zip pay system, which meant you have to pay up front for all your figures, and then nobody ever got anything. People are still waiting on Megatronia, Masterpiece Megatron, Masterpiece Sunstreaker, tons of KFC stuff, tons of Mastermind Creation stuff, tons of DX9 stuff. If you ever see anything on sale there, please do not buy from it. In fact, they're so bad that they've started dragging other YouTubers into this controversy. Honestly, it's a terrible, terrible thing, and it's one of the main reasons why I avoid new online stores, because you just can't trust them. So, it's the worst place. Sure, other stores might not stock anything, but at least you'll get what's there.
What Transformers figure do you want the most?
Well, since the next question is what do I want made the most, I guess this is what my holy grail is. And this is going to be a very difficult one, so if anyone watching has one of these, please sell it to me. I really want it. Every Wonderfest, this guy under the name TF Yuki, I believe, does these garage kits. And a while back he released a Minerva one, and it looks amazing. To me anyway. Some people say it looks like garbage. I personally don't think that. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to track this down because sales outside of Wonderfest have been deemed illegal, at least on TF Yuki's end. I'm not sure about resales, but please, please, if anyone has this, tell me. This isn't something that's a price issue because it's not a very expensive figure when it is sold, but it is something that is very hard to find. One, there's not a lot of them, and two, not many people even know about it. And of course I actually did try asking the guy to say it, and he gave a rather condescending answer. Sure, I kind of get where he's coming from, but at the same time, it's not going to deter me from getting it. In fact, that Twitter post was made a year or two ago, so you can see I'm dedicated to this. If anyone has it, contact me. I will buy it, provided it's, you know, reasonable. And that really depends on what you want to sell it for. Hell, even if you're in America and you don't want to ship internationally, I've got a freight forwarded, so that works fine. And I've got a contact in Japan that might work as well, so, you know. Gimme!
What Transformers figure do you want to be made?
An updated version of Headmaster's Raiden. Seriously, it's the one combiner I've always wanted. As a kid, I was obsessed with trains. I grew up with Thomas, I was into all that plow rail in Japan, I read the shit out of a train history book. And even today, I find myself randomly taking footage of trains that I'll never use in a video. Here's some of the Smash B-roll footage that I never ended up using. And Raiden would be such a cool guy because he's never gotten a proper representation. I'm waiting and waiting and waiting for TFC to make one because they're the most likely, but so far they aren't. I mean, what? G.I. Joe Optimus Prime? Why? Yes, TFC probably will make Raiden, and when they buy it, I'm on board, regardless of how bad it is, because even if a TFC figure sucks, there's always an upgrade kit that goes with it. Now, would a Combiner Wars version be better? Maybe, but if it was just a bunch of retools that use some rather poor figures like the Platinum Edition Leo Kaiser, then please, don't do it.
What is the first Transformers figure you bought?
Movie Legends Blackout. You see, I was first introduced during the Movieverse, during the first movie. My dad rented the first Transformers movie from the DVD place around the corner. It's now closed, of course, because no one rents DVDs except from those green boxes that you get. He probably regrets that decision to this day because that's the single thing that got me into this franchise. And he really hates my collection. He thinks I'm going a bit too overboard. Compared to most collectors, though, I'm hardly doing anything. Yes, and Movie Legends Blackout is one of the few figures that actually holds up from the first movie. And I don't have him anymore, but I do have the Revenge of the Fallen repaint, redeco, which is Grindor, and I don't really have any want to get the first movie Blackout because this guy looks better anyway. The arms are a little wonky and the articulation's a little wonky, but articulation is always weird on Legion Legends. And the transformation is still quite enjoyable. Yeah, getting the legs in is a bit odd, but overall, it's pretty cool. Now, yeah, there's not really much they could have done with the helicopter blades, but nowadays they probably wouldn't even have had that long. They would have just been cut short and wouldn't have done anything. But that is a pretty damn good helicopter, and I am very excited for the Studio Series Blackout coming out soon.
Do you prefer official or third-party Transformers? And who is your favourite third-party company?
Please, no. Don't make me answer this question. Neither is better than the other. They're just different. You can't compare one to the other. They have different things that they do. I mean, take this example. You've got Hasbro Legends Sea-Spray and then Fans Toys Sea-Spray. Yes, I prefer this figure a lot more, but this figure isn't trying to accomplish what this is doing. And other times I'll just prefer the Hasbro version instead. Sure, this is one case where Fans Toys just knocks it out of the park. But honestly, this isn't a bad figure, and for what I paid, it's worth every penny. And yes, I paid retail price, but you get the point. Thing is, third party often goes collector-oriented, and it just doesn't really appeal to me. Some things are fantastic with the playability and their paintwork and everything, but a lot of the time, just Hasbro provides the fun factor. However, that's where Iron Factory comes in, because their figures are very fun, and that's why they are my favorite company. Aside from being a Legends fanatic, of course. I definitely want to have at least one of every mold that they have, and although I don't like having repaints, they really, really want me to get the repaints. Currently I've got Shockwave and Blitzwing coming in, as well as the Grimlock upgrade that they started off with. But I still need a lot of figures from them, including that amazing Bruticus. I'm gonna get that one day. In fact, hopefully this year, but, well, there's only so much time and money that I have.
What are your thoughts on knockoff Transformers?
Well, that depends on which knockoffs you're talking about. Are you talking about the good knockoffs or the terrible knockoffs? If you're talking about the knockoffs that want to improve on a figure, that's amazing. That's fine. I'll take it. Stuff like that new Nitro Zeus, which is coming in, stuff like the MO1 Commander. But then you start to get into the exact replicas, and I don't see much of a point. I mean, sure, stuff like the Evangelion Optimus Prime replica, yeah, the Evangelion Optimus Prime is bloody expensive. And I mean, after getting this guy, I don't think I want to spend another $450 on a Prime, and for what is going on eBay, that's pretty much the bottom limit. He's way more expensive than that most of the time. So for about $200, yes, a slightly worse version knockoff of Evangelion Optimus Prime would be pretty good. But most of the time, I don't see the point. Sure, Takara's expensive, but it's just better to get the Takara version. Supporting that company to make the figures that will be oversized later by the KOs. Their joints are much better, the transformations are often better, the paint's not as sloppy. If you break something, you can often contact them and they'll send you a replacement. The thing about Weijang and Kubian Bao is that when they KO something, they have a reason for it, but a lot of these guys like Takasa/Tanaka, nah, I don't really see the point. I don't know those dollar store knockoffs, just no. Just completely no.
Who is your favourite Transformers character?
In spite of taking the name DrLockdown, he is not my favourite Transformer.
What? What the fuck?
It's actually Death's Head from the Marvel Comics. I don't know the exact specifics of his character arc because I don't remember much from the comics. I read them when I was very young and I have to reread them still, but his character stood out so much to me. That design, the colours, the original colours, not the blue and yellow that came in later, the classic green and red, and that face! Ugh! And then this year I finally got MMC's Death's Head, and it was the later release that, had better QC. Fantastic! I really want to do a review on him, but, once again, it's a matter of time.
What is your favourite Transformers series?
Okay, Paper Plane, get ready to get triggered, because my favourite Transformers series is Transformers Prime. It has plenty of flaws, and often it lacks direction, but that's the same with every Transformers series. I think Prime nailed the dark tone perfectly, especially in its later episodes. Sure, Predacons Rising was, mediocre, but everything leading up to that with Beast Hunters was fantastic. Sure, it doesn't really tie into the Align continuity that well, but nothing in the Align continuity does. The designs... they're not the best designs. I don't really like the aesthetic. But I think it's got great writing, some of the best humans. Yes, I actually like Miko, shut the f*** up! Some great plot twists, and it's, well, just, I don't know, it's not nostalgia, it's just what I personally prefer. If it was nostalgia, I'd say the movieverse, but, it's, yeah. How can you be nostalgic about that?
Which do you prefer, Hasbro on Takara on regular figures?
Most of the time, Hasbro will just get the job done. It's cheaper, often the paint job is fine. Not to mention that through Takara's screen accuracy, they can sometimes shoot themselves in the foot. Unite Warriors, Menasor, anyone? Yeah, Takara goes so screen accurate that often they'll skip out on details and make some weird choices. I mean, why would they make Shockwave this color? Just why? However, there are times when Takara instantly wins. For example, Leo Convoy, instant win. Megatronia, why would you even buy Victorion? Computron, just seriously, Hasbro Computron sucks. Please don't buy that. But most of the time, Hasbro works. Not to mention that we aren't really getting that many Takara figures anymore because Hasbro and Takara are kind of doing a united release now. Oh, no. I don't mean like that. No. What I mean is they're just not releasing Takara repaints. They're just repackaging the Hasbro ones at a higher price because of import costs. So, you know, this question is null and void at this point.
Transformers movies. Love them or hate them?
I love them because they are terrible. Yes, that may sound counterintuitive, but I grew up on these movies and there'll always be a soft spot in my heart for them. One I tend to forget because although it's one of the most solid movies of the franchise, it involves the less Transformers screen time and it's the most generic. Plus Michael Bay's effect on it is very toned down. Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, yeah, it's got a lot of great robots in it. It's a bloody mess, but it's a blast to watch. My favourite will definitely be Dark of the Moon, because it creates that nice balance of cheesy fun and actually being good. Age of Extinction is my least favourite. It's a mess. It looks like scripts were shoved together. They were lazy because they wouldn't show transformations. They were pretentious. They reused a lot of models. Now, Last Night was technically worse, but I prefer it more because it was more shameless. It was a train wreck. In fact, it's technically the worst made of all the films, but it is hilarious to watch. The reused footage, the characters that just arrive and die, I just can't help laughing at it. It's a hoot.
Do you think Hot Rod got Optimus Prime killed in the Transformers movie?
Ah yes, I think this is the last question, and honestly, I don't. Megatron would have killed Optimus anyway, and even then, Optimus did the right thing by not shooting him. If Rodimus hadn't jumped in there, Megatron would have shot him and taken the Matrix for himself. That is, if he'd actually known about it, because hey, the Matrix was just kind of mentioned out of nowhere in that film. Yes, I'm criticizing the 1986 movie, deal with it. Hot Rod was just doing the right thing, and the alternative, well, let's just say I'm glad Optimus Prime died. So those are my next two questions, and now I actually realise that I can only tag one person instead of two, which is a bit of a bummer. So I think I'm going to tag Death Reviews, because I would like to see his take on his collection and what he thinks about all of these. Share this video his way and wait for a response, I guess. It's gonna be pretty cool. So yes, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope I can make more Transformers reviews in the future, because currently I'm getting a bit backed up with all of work and university, but I will continue to make content, you can count on that. Until then, if you're new here, well, I'm not gonna force you to subscribe, because that would be pure torture. Yes, you may run away now. Your last chance. I'm warning you. Okay, I warned you. You're stuck here now.